Welcome into another edition of 6 News Weather Impact 101. I'm Weather Impact Meteorologist Aviana Smith, and today we will be breaking down the difference between high as well as low pressure. I'm sure those are terms that everyone are familiar with by now, but what exactly does that mean and what exactly does that represent? Well, we know that high pressure is normally represented by a big capital H that is blue. It brings us clear and sunny days with light winds and beautiful weather, actually. So when we talk about high pressure, we normally associate it with gorgeous days. We always encourage you all to get out and enjoy. High pressure does rotate clockwise in the northern hemisphere, and what high pressure is it is cool and dry air that sinks and it warms as it sinks down to the surface. So think about when you put a lid on a pot and you trap that heat inside. That is a good representation of high pressure. That's why we normally do see warmer days when we speak about high pressure. Now, in terms of low pressure, it brings us unstable weather patterns such as rain and storms. It rotates counterclockwise in the northern hemisphere, and it occurs when warm, moist air rises and cools. So that's why you see a lot of clouds present with low pressure systems, and again, a lot of rainfall. So think about evaporation there. When the rain evaporates, it goes up and it forms clouds because we have more moisture in the atmosphere, and low pressure is represented by a big capital L that is red. And typically what that means is that it also could change our wind. So we have low pressure and high pressure at the surface, but as well as in the upper levels, and we always want pressure to be equal. So pressure is always at a battle trying to be at equal pressure. But when you have high pressure that is weak as well as a weak low pressure system in place, you won't get very strong winds. So if you have that small change in pressure, then that's when we see those weaker winds in the upper levels. But just like if we have strong pressure, you will see stronger winds. So strong high pressure met with a strong low pressure, that's when we see those gusty wind days, typically up to about 25 to 35 mile per hour winds. But remember, those high pressure is represented by a big capital H and low pressure is represented by a big red capital L. And this is typically what a map looks like when we talk about high and low pressure at the surface there. And normally it's associated with either a cold front system or a trough. And again, that's why we see those winds pushing in with those fronts that come across our area, because that change in high and low pressure. Remember, pressure is always trying to fight to get to that equal state. And we also have it in the upper level. So this is what is represented like when we talk about high pressure setup. And so as we look in the upper levels and you see that high pressure system building in or that low pressure system building in, we're associated with a trough in a ridge. So if we're under a ridge, that represents high pressure. And if we're under a trough, that represents low pressure. And actually this setup that we are seeing now is known as an omega block pattern. And it gets its name because it's shaped like the Greek alphabet omega. So there's that kind of arch look that you get when you have low pressure off to the east as well as to the west and high pressure in the center. That's when you see an omega block pattern. And again, we have high and low pressure at the surface and at the upper level. So I hope that gave you a good representation of the difference between high and low pressure and what to look for when we talk about these symbols on our maps. But if you have any more questions for your Weather Impact 101 segments, you can email us at weather@kcentv.com or text any questions to 254-777-6000. That'll conclude your Weather Impact 101 today. Hope you all join us for our next episode.